so you'll never buy a mattress in the dark again.
Nice job, Drew.
Thanks, Dad. Trust your sleep to sit and sleep.
If you've been hurt in an accident and you need results, call Sweet James. Here are just some of the recent wins for our injured clients. Call the firm that wins big. Call Sweet James.
Laguna Beach welcomes you to the Sawdust Art Festival, featuring over 180 artists, makers, and musicians. Explore captivating art exhibitions in a unique artist village. Enjoy live music performances on 3 stages. Relax and refresh in the open-air dining garden and legendary saloon. Drop in at one of the many complimentary art classes. Come for the magic, stay for the memories. See you at Sawdust. Open daily at 11 a.m. through September 1st. For tickets, visit sawdustartfestival.org.
Sometimes it takes a different approach to see the difference you can make around you. With Capella University's game-changing FlexPath format, set your own deadlines and access coursework anytime. Imagine your future differently with Capella University.
Interest rates are the highest they've been in almost 20 years. The Loan Exchange is the answer to these high rates. Free closer loans, meaning no closing costs for either first mortgages or home equity lines of credit. You can get a Loan Exchange loan now, and when rates come down in the future, you can exchange your loan for a new loan with a lower rate without wasting money on either loan for things like title insurance, points, etc. So why not tap your home's equity now with a free Loan Exchange loan and exchange it for another free loan when rates head lower? The Loan Exchange, your free closer mortgage lender.
I hear it all the time. Smart and Final, it's a silly name for a place that sells groceries. But did you know that's actually the name of our founders? Jim Smart and Hildane Final. Smart and Final's the OG of grocery stores. Smart and Final. Where else?
Good morning. I'm Frank Buckley. A carjacking suspect shot and wounded yesterday evening by LA County Sheriff's deputies. Well, the details on what happened just ahead.
I'm Eric Spillman. President Biden faces a big test later today, his first news conference since the debate. The latest on calls for him to step aside.
Good morning. I'm Annie Rose Ramos in Sun Valley at the site of an illegal junkyard just overflowing with hazardous waste and materials. We are in the heart of LA City, and we are trying to get answers from LA leaders, LA agencies, hear from concerns residents coming up.
Good morning. I'm Jessica Holmes. Costco making a major move for the first time in several years that will impact its members. We'll have those details just ahead.
And good morning. I'm Andy Reesmeyer. Coming up in entertainment, Wayne Brady's wild new reality show, plus Real Housewives of Dubai's Talene Marie joins us live in studio. You don't want to miss it.
All right, good morning, everybody. Taking a live look outside. We are looking at some cloudy conditions here in Long Beach, but don't worry, we'll see plenty of sunshine. Beach areas, a good place to beat the heat today. We'll settle into the 70s. Still a hot day for the inland areas. 87 downtown, that puts us about 5 degrees above the average. We're going about 10 degrees above the average in the San Fernando Valley and the IE. And the high desert, low deserts, forget about it. It's pretty much an indoor-only day for you with temperatures well above 110. We'll talk more about your forecast, not just for today, but also a nice cool down for early next week. I think you'll like the numbers a little more for those that are saying it's just too hot. We'll give you those details in a few minutes. Ginger, good morning.
Good morning to you as well. And Henry, we do have so many things to cover. We always say it right. In times like this, we certainly don't want you to be stuck in any traffic with the heat that is with us. Now, this 101 freeway, the northbound side of the 110, let me tell you, it has been really crowded for the stretch of the 101 freeway, even late with delays that extend all the way back onto that East LA interchange. But this time it's a crash with 3 cars. They're still here for the heart of downtown, 110 South at 8th Street. The debris that came like off of maybe the bridge, maybe somebody dropped something, maybe somebody threw something. But anyway, it was pretty large debris that hit a vehicle with damage to it. You gotta get ready for those delays, right? The 105, the eastbound side right here, Bellflower Boulevard, that crash is now in the right lane. It's slow. Sometimes it's slow as people try to get over to about Studebaker. So they do the park and ride, take public transportation by putting their vehicle there at the park and ride. You see it, it's busy here, and then delays that extend as you continue onto the 605 freeway because it's all backed up there. And that 5, everything is cleared. That's still a really slow ride as well. So many spots where things are still challenging. I'll send it back to you.
President Biden is scheduled to hold a high-stakes live news conference this afternoon at the end of the NATO summit in Washington, D.C. Comes as a growing number of Democratic lawmakers are calling on him to drop out of the presidential race over concerns about his age and health. KTLA's Eric Spillman in the newsroom with more for us. Eric, good morning.
Morning, Frank. It will be President Biden's first solo news conference since the debate. You can bet a lot of people will be watching. It's at 3:30 this afternoon to see how he handles an unscripted, high-pressure situation. There's a lot of noise about whether he should step aside, but so far, at least in public, he's ignoring that.
This is a big night at the White House, celebrating 75 years of the greatest alliance the world has ever known.
President offering a toast at the White House last night. The last few days, he's hosted world leaders attending the NATO conference in D.C., and he's shown no sign that he might decide to end his campaign for re-election. But after his performance at the debate 2 weeks ago, some Democrats doubt he can win. 9 Democratic House lawmakers have now publicly called for him to step aside and make way for a new candidate. So have donors and celebrities like George Clooney. Last night, Peter Welch of Vermont became the first U.S. senator to publicly ask Biden to quit. He writes this in the Washington Post. I understand why President Biden wants to run. He saved us from Donald Trump once and wants to do it again. But he needs to reassess whether he is the best candidate to do so. In my view, he is not. For the good of the country, I'm calling on President Biden to withdraw from the race. Now, yesterday, Biden was greeted with cheers at the headquarters of the AFL-CIO in Washington, but behind closed doors, the Post reports, those same union leaders were questioning whether concerns about Biden's age and health will make it impossible for him to beat Donald Trump. According to that report in the Post, the plan is for Democratic leaders to wait until after the NATO summit is over to make a more public push for Biden to drop out. The Democratic convention is next month, and most of the delegates are firmly committed to Biden. We spoke to a few from Southern California who say they are sticking with him.
For me, a pledge is a pledge. When you tell someone you're committed to them, when you make a promise, you stick by that promise. And President Biden has delivered all his promises to us, so we have to deliver our promises to him.
I've yet to speak to a single delegate in my region that covers 5 assembly districts and 5 congressional seats that any of them are abandoning the president or not supporting the president. If anything, what I'm hearing from people is it's time that we unite behind the president and stop this infighting.
Now, Republicans will nominate Donald Trump at their convention in Milwaukee next week. This morning, the New York Times editorial board calls Trump unfit to lead, saying that he is dangerous, that he puts self over country, and that he loathes the laws we live by. Quote, the Democrats are rightly engaged in their own debate about whether President Biden is the right person to carry the party's nomination into the election. It is a national tragedy that the Republicans have failed to have a similar debate about Donald Trump, instead setting aside their longstanding values, closing ranks, and choosing to overlook his systematic dishonesty, corruption, cruelty, and incompetence. All right, if you average 8 national polls, Trump has widened his lead to 3 percentage points over Biden since the debate. Trump had a 1-point lead over Biden before the debate. Jessica?
Okay, Eric, we thank you for that this morning. Meantime, California Governor Gavin Newsom continues to support President Biden. He said yesterday he would not run for president against Vice President Kamala Harris if Biden were to leave the race. Vice President Harris would be the presumed Democratic frontrunner to lead the ticket if the president decides to drop out. Governor Newsom recently campaigned for President Biden in New Hampshire and Michigan.
A tree toppled over and onto a Pomona home overnight. It happened shortly after 1 o'clock this morning on North Wisconsin Street near North Park Avenue. The son of the homeowners says his family was sleeping when they heard the commotion from the tree hitting the house.
I was in the living room, and then I hear creaks, and it was weird because it was kind of loud. And then the ceiling just starts falling down, and we all rush out. Everybody's safe, though, so.
The home is now red tagged. Fortunately, no injuries reported. The family plans to stay with nearby relatives until it's safe to return home.
Now to a story we've been following all week. Residents in a Sun Valley neighborhood say they feel trapped on their property after one man turned his home into what neighbors say is a hazardous junkyard. KTLA's Annie Rose Ramos has been trying to follow up with everyone that's involved, from the city to the homeowner's mother. Annie Rose, good morning.
Hey, Jess, good morning to you. And one of those phone calls I made was a detective, a local detective who's been working on this property for years, ever since 2020. And he told me about a 2021 bomb scare that came from right here, from right in this property, where the LAPD had to respond with their bomb squad. It was such a large bomb that they had to call in the assistance from the Marine Corps in Camp Pendleton in order to remove it. I want to bring in Scott Froschauer. You live right down the street. You were here in the moment when that bomb squad responded, LAPD confirming all of this happening. Talk me through what that was like to live around the corner from something like that.
Well, this property was already known to be a really terrifying sort of environment. There were already things about it that were really scary. That there was a bomb on the property just kind of added to all of the other things that were already known about what was going on. But it then escalated it to this next level of, okay, now someone will do something about this. Right. Now it's not just, oh, it's a fire hazard.